Hey everyone, welcome back.
Yeah.
Today we're going to be taking a deep dive into game design, all thanks to the article that you sent our way.
Okay.
What really is a game designer
Mm.
and how to master this skill
Yeah.
by Reactorcore, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, we're not just talking basic game design 101 here.
No.
This thing goes deep.
Yeah.
It gets into the nitty-gritty, the challenges,
And the real stuff.
the stuff people don't always talk about, the skill set,
Yeah, like how deep it goes.
and how it connects to things you wouldn't think of at first. Like
Yeah.
there's psychology in here, marketing, a bit of philosophy too.
Exactly. And that's what I
Yeah.
found fascinating about this piece.
Yeah.
It debunks that myth right away.
Which one?
That game designers and game developers are the same thing.
Oh yeah, people mix those up all the time.
Yeah, so the article separates those two things right off the bat.
Okay, so how does it explain that then?
So developers, they're the builders.
Okay.
They're the ones making the code, the art, all those pieces. Right, bringing it all together.
Yeah, but the designers, they're like the architects.
Oh, I like that.
They make the blueprint, the vision, they shape the whole player experience.
Okay, yeah, so the designer's crafting the experience, not just, laying the bricks or whatever.
Exactly, and the article uses this
Yeah.
analogy of the spider and its web,
Yeah.
and I think that really fits.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Because the designer's at the center, connecting everything, guiding the whole team.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's not just in-game mechanics then, huh?
No. The article goes way beyond that.
Oh,
It
yeah.
talks about marketing, making money from the game, building a community around it,
Wow.
even the long-term life cycle, like how long the game stays relevant.
See, that's so much more than I thought about. I was
Yeah.
thinking more about levels, character abilities.
Right.
But you're right. You could have the best game ever, but if no one knows about it...
Exactly. And the article makes this point, and it's important,
Yeah.
that game design often gets undervalued,
Mhm.
and that's a problem.
Oh, how so?
Well, if you don't have that design thinking at the core, your team can burn out.
I see.
Like the coders and artists, they suddenly have to make design decisions.
Right, yeah, on top of their other work.
Exactly. And the final product suffers too.
Yeah,
Think about it.
yeah.
Would you want to live in a house where the electrician was also the architect?
Oh, gosh, no.
Yeah.
That's a terrifying thought.
Right. So good game design, it's crucial.
For sure. Now, for solo devs who are doing everything themselves,
Yeah, it's
the article has advice, right?
It does, and it's about working smarter,
Okay.
not harder. It
Yeah.
talks about using asset packs, generators,
Yeah.
even AI tools to get things done faster.
Oh, interesting.
Right. It's about efficiency, and I think that's great.
Yeah, totally. It shows you don't need fancy stuff.
Right.
If the design's solid, a simple game can be fantastic.
That's the key takeaway. So the article then breaks down
Okay.
what it takes to master game design into 5 main areas.
5, wow.
Yeah, and the first one is called human and project purpose knowledge.
Ooh, that sounds deep.
Yeah, it's deep.
What is that about?
Well, it's where psychology meets game design.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, it's about understanding how people think, why they play games,
I see.
and what needs your game is fulfilling for that player.
So if you don't get your player, you're basically designing blindfolded then.
Exactly, and the article even mentions a book I didn't expect.
Oh, what's that?
It's called Nonviolent Communication by Marshall Rosenberg.
Interesting. Never heard of it.
Well, it talks about empathy,
Yeah.
understanding people's needs and motivations, and that's key for game design.
So it's not just about making a fun game then.
No, it's about making a game that really connects with people.
I see. For how would you even learn about this stuff?
Well, it's about being observant,
Yeah.
watching how people act, both online and offline.
Give me an example.
Like, watch how streamers interact with their audience.
Okay.
See what people are talking about on gaming forums.
Okay. Yeah.
Even listening to podcasts
Yeah.
like this one.
Right. So it's like field work for game designers then.
Exactly. You got to be out there absorbing it all.
But speaking of the online world,
Yeah,
there's a warning in there too, right?
there is.
About being careful with information online.
That's right. Online spaces, they're great for connecting,
Yeah.
but they can also be full of manipulation and bad information.
Oh, that's for sure.
So as a designer, especially thinking about player psychology,
Yeah.
you got to be aware of that darker side too.
Right. The good and the bad.
Exactly. It's all part of understanding how complex people really are.
And that's a good point for anyone online these days, not just game designers.
Absolutely.
So we've talked about this myth of designer versus developer,
Yeah.
the psychology of players, even being careful online.
Mm-hmm.
Where do we go from here?
Let's get into this second area the article talks about.
Okay, hit me.
It's called technological, physiological, and material knowledge.
Whoa, that's a mouthful.
It is, but it's
Yeah.
basically about how games actually work. The nuts and bolts, the limits and possibilities based on what you're making.
So, like, a board game is different from a VR game, right?
Exactly. Board games, they don't have a computer to do the hard work.
I see.
Everything has to work within those physical limits.
Right, the board, the pieces, the player's actions.
And then with video games, you're dealing with hardware, software, processing power.
Oh, yeah.
All that technical stuff impacts your design choices.
It sounds like a lot to juggle.
It is. You got to balance that cool game idea with what's actually doable.
Right.
And knowing your game engine inside out is huge too.
The game engine?
Yeah, like Unity or Unreal Engine.
Okay, yeah.
You got to know its quirks, its strengths, its limits.
So it's like learning a language then, to really master those tools.
Exactly. If you want to make something truly great, you got to be fluent.
I like that.
Yeah.
Speaking of languages, the third area the article talks about is communication and business knowledge.
Yeah, that's a big one.
Right. It sounds like we're back to that human side of things.
We are, and this is where that spiderweb analogy really comes into play.
Okay. Because
as a designer, you got to communicate your vision
makes sense.
to the programmers, the artists, the sound designers, everyone.
Right. It's a team effort, not just one person making the whole thing.
Exactly, and that communication extends beyond the team too.
Oh, how so?
It's about marketing to players, building a community, understanding the business side.
See, that's where I start to zone out usually.
I get it, but the article makes a good point.
Yeah.
Even if you're not a business person, you got to know the basics.
Okay. Why?
Because what if you have the best idea ever,
Yeah.
but you can't get it in front of players?
Mm.
Or you can't make it sustainable?
Oh, yeah. Then it just fizzles out.
Exactly. So the article recommends a resource. It's called Marketing for Hippies.
Wait, hold on. Marketing for hippies. Okay, now I'm intrigued.
It's interesting because his approach is about respecting the player,
Okay.
not tricking them.
Mm.
And that aligns with this whole idea of ethical game design.
So finding genuine ways to connect rather than just trying to make a quick buck.
Right. And the article argues that that's better for everyone in the long run.
Okay, I'm seeing a theme here.
Yeah.
It's about understanding people, understanding the tech, and understanding the business.
It all ties together, yeah.
So what's next on this list?
The fourth area is project organizing knowledge.
Ooh, now that's something I can get behind.
I knew you'd like that one.
I'm all about organization, especially for big, messy projects.
Well, this is about having systems and workflows
Okay.
that actually help your creative process, whether you're solo or on a team,
Because things can get out of hand quickly, right?
very quickly. And the article stresses that staying organized
Yeah.
is key for communication, not just with your team,
Oh.
but with your future self, too.
I see. So I don't lose my mind a month from now.
Exactly. You got to know where everything is, track your progress.
So it's less about being tidy, more about having a system that works. Right.
Exactly. Because with game design, you've got so many documents, assets, references.
Oh, it's a whirlwind.
It is.
Huh.
And the article acknowledges there's no one perfect way to organize.
Okay.
The best system is the one that works for you.
I see, yeah.
But it does say back up your work
Oh, yes.
and capture your ideas as soon as you have them.
Preach.
Because losing work or forgetting a brilliant idea, that's the worst.
Yeah, I've been there.
And then the final area, the fifth one, it gets kind of philosophical again.
Okay, bring on the philosophy.
It's called A Library of Personal Experiences.
Interesting. So what does that mean?
It's about immersing yourself in the world of games.
Oh, okay, so playing games.
Yeah, but not just for fun. Playing with a critical eye, noticing what works, what doesn't.
Oh, I see. So like, why did I love this game?
Exactly.
Why did this other one make me quit after 5 minutes?
Right, you're building this mental library of game design.
Okay, filled with examples, techniques, those aha moments.
Right, and the article encourages you to steal good ideas.
Wait, steal? Like plagiarize?
No, not like that.
Oh.
It's about analyzing what makes good games work and applying those principles.
Oh, okay, so more like remixing then, taking existing ideas and making something new.
Exactly. The article compares it to a thief versus an artist.
Okay, I like that.
The thief just copies, but the artist, they take inspiration, they combine things skillfully.
To make something original.
Right, and this leads to a point the article really emphasizes, and it's patience.
Oh boy, patience. I think I can already hear some listeners groaning.
I know, right?
We live in a world of instant gratification.
We do,
right?
but game design,
Yeah.
the long game.
Okay, so how does the article talk about that?
Well, Remember that space satellite analogy from before?
The one about how designers are like the architects?
Yeah, it comes back again.
Okay.
The article compares game design to building a space satellite.
Whoa. Okay, tell me more.
It's incredibly complex, tons of details, no room for errors.
So building a game is like launching a rocket.
Kind of, yeah. You got to be meticulous. Every element matters,
I see.
and that takes time. You can't rush it.
So it's a marathon, not a sprint, and there are going to be bumps along the way, right?
Absolutely. The article's honest about that.
Okay.
There will be setbacks. You got to embrace iteration, constant testing.
Right, and that's where that self-care advice comes in.
Exactly. You can't pour all your energy into a project and expect to thrive.
So finding that balance between focus and well-being.
That's key, yeah.
It's like remembering why you love games in the first place, right?
Right. It's about keeping that passion alive.
And speaking of passion, the article actually challenges this assumption
Oh, which one?
that you need a formal game design degree.
Oh, yeah. That
A
one.
lot of people think that's the only way in.
They do, but the article says it's not the only path, and maybe not even the best path.
Wow, okay. So what does it say is important then?
It highlights self-directed learning, building skills through practice.
So being proactive, basically.
Yeah, and the article points out how many online resources there are now.
Oh, yeah, tons of stuff.
Tutorials, articles, open source game engines, communities.
Right, it's like the whole world of game design education is opening up.
Exactly, and with all those resources,
Mhm.
the article says you got to be resourceful, find mentors, join communities, never stop learning.
So you can create your own game design education even outside of school.
That's right.
This is empowering, but it also sounds like it takes a lot of self-discipline.
It does, yeah. This approach isn't for everyone,
Okay.
but for those who are driven, it can be amazing.
It's about being the architect of your own journey. Right.
Exactly. And speaking of architects, the article has some advice for staying organized.
Oh, good. I'm all ears for this.
I know you are. And it starts with a simple principle. Record your ideas immediately.
Oh, yeah, that's classic advice, but so true.
Right. Don't let those brilliant ideas escape.
I've lost too many to not writing them down.
Well, the article says use whatever works.
Okay.
A notebook, an app, even just email yourself.
Right. The point is to capture it before it's gone.
Exactly. And once you have ideas, you got to organize them, prioritize them.
So you go from brainstorming to being strategic.
That's right.
Makes sense.
And again, there's no one right way to do this.
Okay.
The best system is the one that works for you and your project.
I like that philosophy. So what are some of the tips it gives then?
Well, it talks about having a central place for all your project files.
Right. One place to rule them all.
Exactly. Use folders to keep things tidy.
Okay.
And back up your work religiously. We've all learned that lesson the hard way.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Right. A good file system can save you so much headache.
It's like having a map of your whole project.
Exactly.
Okay, but what if the project is massive or you have a team?
Well, the article suggests separate systems for different things,
Okay.
like design docs, art, code, each with its own organization.
So breaking it down into chunks.
Right. And this ties back to communication,
Oh, how so?
because when everyone knows where things are and how they're organized,
Yeah.
it's so much easier to communicate.
It's about clarity, reducing errors, making the whole process smoother.
Exactly. And that attention to detail, it makes a big difference in the end.
Especially for something as complex as game design.
Right.
Okay, we've covered a lot. The player, the tech, communication, organization.
Hmm.
But I feel like we're about to hit a really crucial and often overlooked part,
Yeah.
playtesting.
That's it. Yeah.
Playtesting where the rubber meets the road.
Exactly. Where you see your creation in action with real players.
Yeah.
And the article really stresses playtesting isn't just like a checkbox you tick, you know?
It's not just a formality.
It's essential. It's that feedback loop
Okay.
that helps you refine your game, see what's not working, and make sure people actually enjoy playing it.
So it's like taking the game out for a spin.
Exactly. Seeing if it actually drives well.
Yeah, not just looks good on paper.
And the article says, start playtesting early.
Early, like even before it's all polished.
Yep. Don't wait till it's perfect.
Interesting. Why not?
Because you want to get feedback while you're still making it.
Okay, to make changes along the way.
Right. It's all about iterating.
So don't be afraid to show your work in progress.
Exactly. Even if it's a little rough.
Makes sense. Now, when you're doing these playtests,
Yeah.
what should you be aiming for?
Have a plan. Know what you want to learn from each session.
Okay.
What parts of the game are you testing? And watch the players closely.
Closely, like what are you looking for?
Well, don't just listen to what they say.
Oh, Oh,
Watch how they react, their faces, their body language. Are they into it?
right, because sometimes people say one thing,
Exactly.
but their body's saying something else.
You become a detective.
I like that.
You're looking for clues on how they're really feeling.
And that helps you shape the game's emotions, right?
Precisely. You can use those insights to create moments of tension, excitement, humor, whatever you're going for.
So it's not just about the mechanics, it's about how the game makes people feel.
Exactly. It's about crafting an experience.
Yeah.
And that goes beyond just winning or losing. This all circles back to understanding human psychology.
Right, that first area we talked about.
Yeah.
Knowing what needs your game is fulfilling.
The article says the baked games are the ones that really get that connect on an emotional level.
So they provide more than just entertainment.
Right. It's a sense of fulfillment.
Okay, so we've got playtesting, psychology, the importance of those human needs.
Mhm.
What else is crucial for game designers to be aware of?
Well, in today's world, you got to stay up to date.
Up to date with what?
Everything. New platforms, new tools, new ways people play games.
Right, because the gaming landscape is always changing.
Always. So good game designers, they got to adapt, learn new skills, embrace new technology.
It's not enough to just know the basics.
No, you got to stay ahead of the curve, always be experimenting.
So what are some specific things designers should be looking at?
The article says, explore new platforms.
Mm-hmm.
Play around with different game engines.
Okay.
See what's happening with VR, AR, cloud gaming.
All that cutting edge stuff.
Right, it's about expanding your horizons, never being afraid to try something new.
So you're saying even seasoned designers should be learning new tricks?
Always. And the best way to stay current isn't just watching.
Okay, then what is it?
Participate. Get involved in the industry.
How do you mean, like go to conferences and stuff?
Exactly. Connect with other developers.
Yeah.
Share your work. Maybe find a mentor. Collaborate on projects.
So get out there, be part of the conversation.
Right. And the article says this helps you stay on top of trends.
Yeah, it makes sense.
It's about actively shaping the future of gaming.
Okay, so we've got psychology, technology, staying current. This is a lot to juggle.
It is, and that's why the article also talks about time management.
Oh, yes. Give me all the productivity tips.
Well, it starts with a simple idea. Prioritize your tasks.
Prioritize. Okay.
Focus on the most important things first. Break big tasks into smaller ones.
Yeah, so you don't get overwhelmed.
Exactly. And even just having a to-do list, using a time management app, those can help you stay focused.
It's about having a system.
Yeah,
Right.
exactly, because creative work can be unpredictable.
Oh, tell me about it.
Right. So the article says, be flexible, adjust your plans as needed.
Okay.
Set realistic deadlines, don't take on too much.
So know your limits.
Exactly. And here's an interesting point.
Yeah.
Taking breaks, doing things outside of game design.
Like what?
Anything you enjoy, hobbies, spending time in nature.
That can actually help your work.
It can, yeah. It's like cross-training for your mind.
So giving your brain a chance to recharge.
Right, because creativity isn't just a switch you turn on and off.
It needs to be fed, nurtured.
Exactly. And that feeds into another important aspect of game development.
What's that?
Community.
Community, like working with other people.
Right. Even if you're working solo, the article talks about all these online communities.
Oh, yeah, there are tons of those.
Forums, resources where designers can connect, share ideas.
It's like finding your tribe.
Exactly. And the article encourages you to participate in those communities.
Okay, so not just lurking.
Right. Contribute your knowledge, ask questions, learn from others.
It's about realizing you're not alone in this.
Exactly. And it's not just about getting help.
Okay.
It's also about giving back.
Oh, I see.
Sharing what, supporting other people's work.
Goes a two-way street.
Right. It's about raising the bar for everyone.
Okay, so for someone just starting out,
Yeah.
what's the best advice?
The article says, experiment. Don't be afraid to try things. Fail. Learn.
Just get your hands dirty.
Exactly. Start with small projects. Explore different mechanics.
Okay, so don't get bogged down in making it perfect right away.
Right? Just have fun with it. Rediscover that playfulness.
And what about finding your own style?
Oh, that's crucial too.
Yes.
The article talks about developing your unique voice.
So what makes you stand out from everyone else?
Exactly. And it says to draw inspiration from everywhere. Experiment with different genres, take risks, push boundaries.
So don't be afraid to break the mold a little.
Right. Finding your voice, it takes time, experimentation.
Yeah, and probably some failures along the way.
For sure. But it's about trusting your instincts, your curiosity.
And creating something that truly reflects you?
Exactly. And that leads to having a vision for your game, right?
Vision, okay. What do you mean by that?
That core concept, the idea that drives everything.
Oh, okay, so like the heart of the game.
Right. And that can come from anywhere. Personal experience, a book you read, even just a feeling.
Okay.
It's about translating that into something interactive.
So taking that initial spark and building a whole world around it.
Exactly. And the article suggests writing it down,
Oh, like a design document.
Yeah, outline your goals, the mechanics, your vision for the whole thing.
So you have a roadmap to follow.
Exactly. And of course, it can change as you go.
Right. But having that initial structure is helpful.
It is. It's like setting a course for your ship, but knowing you might need to adjust the sails along the way.
I like that. Speaking of adjusting, the article also talks about being aware of different cultures.
Oh yeah, that's huge, especially now with games reaching a global audience.
So we're talking about cultural awareness.
Yes, and sensitivity, inclusivity.
Because games have the power to connect people from all over.
They do. But they can also unintentionally reinforce stereotypes,
Yeah, if you're not careful.
So the article says, do your research, talk to experts from different cultures.
No?
Be mindful of how your design choices might be interpreted.
It's about having humility, right?
Yeah, and understanding that your perspective isn't the only one.
Exactly. It's all part of that empathy we talked about earlier.
And the article argues that by embracing these diverse perspectives, you can create games that are richer, more meaningful.
So not just avoiding problems,
Right.
but actively seeking out those different viewpoints.
Exactly. And that can lead to some really cool, innovative games that make people think differently.
That challenge assumptions.
Exactly. Games can be such powerful tools for understanding each other.
Absolutely. Okay, so we've talked a lot about big ideas, the creative side of things, but I know our listener loves efficiency.
Right. Working smarter, not harder.
And the article has some tips for that, right?
It does. It starts with, don't reinvent the wheel.
What does that mean for game design?
Use existing resources, tools, assets whenever you can.
Oh, okay. So like those pre-made art assets I've seen.
Exactly. Sound effects, code libraries, anything to streamline your process.
Makes sense. Why create something from scratch if it already exists?
Right. There are tons of resources online, many of them free.
Oh, yeah, that's awesome.
So be resourceful, find those shortcuts.
Okay, so that's one tip. Leverage what's already out there. What else?
Automate repetitive tasks.
Ooh, automation, my favorite word.
Right. The article says use tools and scripts to automate things like
Give me some examples.
importing assets, building levels, even some basic gameplay logic.
So anything you find yourself doing over and over,
Exactly. Let the computer handle it.
free up your brain for the creative stuff.
Right. And this is huge for solo developers.
Yeah, because they're doing it all up.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then the article also talks about delegation.
Delegation, okay, like asking for help.
Kind of, yeah. It's about recognizing you can't do everything yourself.
Right, especially on a big project.
Exactly. And it gives tips for delegating effectively.
Like what?
Be clear about what needs to be done.
Okay.
Set clear expectations. And most importantly, trust the people you're delegating to.
So it's about empowering your team.
Right. Creating an environment where everyone feels valued.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
And when you're working with a team, you need good communication tools, right?
Absolutely. The article highlights things like project management software,
Okay.
version control systems, online communication platforms.
Oh, yeah, to keep everyone on the same page.
Exactly. It's like having a virtual workspace.
Where everyone can collaborate no matter where they are.
Right. And these tools can streamline feedback, make it easier to share ideas, track changes.
So less confusion, more efficiency.
Exactly. And that helps everyone work towards the same goal.
Okay, so we've got playtesting, community, collaboration tools. This is a lot.
It is, but it all ties into this idea of constant learning.
Learning. Okay, so how do you keep up in this ever-changing world of game design?
Be curious. Be a lifelong learner. Always seek out new knowledge, new experiences.
So it never really ends?
Nope. The article says attend events, take online courses, read, play games critically.
Wow, so it's really about always pushing yourself.
Exactly. And as you learn and grow, think about your portfolio.
Ah, the portfolio. We've talked about that before.
Right. But it's worth emphasizing. Your portfolio is your calling card.
It shows what you can do.
Right. It's not just a bunch of random projects. It's a showcase of your best work.
Okay, so what should be in there?
A little bio about you, descriptions of your projects,
Okay.
screenshots, videos, maybe testimonials from people you've worked with.
So you're showing the visuals, but also explaining your thinking, your process.
Right. And keep it updated. Add new projects as you go.
It's like a living document.
Exactly. And while you're building your portfolio...
Think about building your online presence, too.
Okay, so that's like your digital footprint, right?
Right. Create a website, start a blog. Be active on social media.
Share your work. Connect with other people.
Exactly. Establish yourself as someone who's passionate, knowledgeable.
Build your reputation.
Right. And this can lead to opportunities.
It's like creating your brand as a game designer.
Exactly. And the article makes this great point.
What's that?
Be authentic. Let your online presence reflect who you really are.
Okay, so not trying to fit into some mold of what a designer should be.
Right. Just be yourself. Let your personality shine through.
So be genuine, be passionate. That's what attracts people.
Exactly. It's about building a community around your shared love of games.
And around your own unique vision.
Right. And that brings us to something many people dread.
What's that?
Networking.
Oh boy, networking. I think I hear groans already.
I know it can be scary, especially for introverts.
Yeah, feel that.
But the article is clear. It's essential.
So you can't avoid it? Not if you want to build a career in this industry.
Okay, so what's the best way to approach it then?
Put yourself out there. Meet people. Make those connections.
So go to events, join online communities.
Right, and don't be afraid to reach out to developers you admire.
Okay.
Start conversations, ask questions, show that you're interested.
It's about building genuine relationships, not just collecting business cards.
Exactly. And the article reminds us that networking isn't just about getting something.
Okay, then what is it about?
It's about giving back too. Sharing your knowledge, supporting others.
So, contributing to the community as a whole.
Right. It's about recognizing that we're all in this together.
Yeah, and that ties back to that whole idea of the game dev community being like a family.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Even though there's competition, there's also this shared passion.
It's like a tribe.
Yeah, a group of people who understand each other.
Who get the struggles and the joys of making games.
And that brings us back to that core message. Never stop learning.
Right, because the gaming world is always changing.
Always. So those skills we've been talking about,
Like what?
curiosity, adaptability, being a lifelong learner, those are essential.
So how do you actually stay ahead of the curve?
Attend events, take online courses, read, play games critically.
Always be learning, basically.
Exactly. And as you grow, remember to build your portfolio and your online presence.
Showcase your work, connect with others.
Right. And let your authentic self shine through.
Be genuine, be passionate.
Because that's what attracts people.
It's about building a community around your love of games.
And around your own unique vision.
And then even though it might be scary, network.
Yeah, put yourself out there, build those relationships.
Because the gaming world is a community.
It is, and it's a community that welcomes new voices, new ideas.
So if you're feeling inspired, take that first step.
Experiment, create, and don't be afraid to fail.
Because failure is just part of the learning process.
Exactly. And who knows? Your game might be the next big thing.
With all this talk about learning and growing, I can't help but think back to playtesting. It's where the rubber meets the road, right?
Yeah, for sure. Playtesting is like you get to see your game in action with real players.
See how all those mechanics we've been talking about actually play out.
Exactly. And the article really stresses playtesting isn't just a final step.
Right, not just checking a box.
It's got to be woven throughout the whole process.
Oh, I see. So you get feedback early.
Exactly. And you can iterate, make changes based on how people actually play.
So don't be afraid to share your game, even when it's still a work in progress.
Exactly. It's better to get feedback early than to wait till it's done and realize something's not working.
Makes total sense.
Yeah.
So when you are doing these play tests, what should you be looking for?
Well, the article says, first off, have a goal for each playtest. Like, what are you trying to learn?
Okay, what specifically are you testing?
Right. And then watch the players closely.
Not just what they say.
Right. Watch their faces, their body language. Are they having fun? Are they confused?
Because sometimes what people say and how they feel don't match up.
Exactly. You got to be a detective.
Ooh, I like that.
You're looking for those clues that tell you how the game is really landing.
So you can use that to fine-tune the emotional experience.
Precisely. You can create moments of excitement, tension, whatever you're going for.
So it's about more than just the mechanics. It's about the feeling the game evokes.
Exactly. And that takes us back to understanding human psychology.
Right, making sure the game fulfills a need for the player.
The article says the best games, they nail that emotional connection.
They offer something more than just entertainment.
Right. It's about fulfillment, a sense of meaning.
It's pretty amazing that games can do that.
It is, yeah. It all comes back to passion, that drive to create something special.
And the article ends on this note, and I love it. My hope is to spark your mind to see beyond what is currently available.
It's such a great way to put
It's
it.
like a challenge, right?
Yeah, to dream big, to innovate, to not just follow what's already been done.
To create something truly unique.
Exactly. The world of gaming is constantly evolving, so there's always something new to explore.
And that's what makes it so exciting to be part of this world of creativity, of innovation.
To bring your ideas to life, to connect with people through games.
So to our listener, if you're feeling that spark, that desire to make games,
Yeah, go for it. Start building, start experimenting.
don't be afraid to fail.
Failure is just part of the process.
And remember why you love games in the first place. Let that passion guide you.
Because the world needs more passionate game creators, more innovative ideas, more stories to tell.
And who knows, maybe your game will be the next big thing.
Maybe it will. That's the beauty of it. Anything is possible.
That's a perfect note to end on. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into the world of game design. Until next time, keep playing, keep creating, and keep exploring the amazing universe of games.